Hi, and welcome to Recipe for Fun. Today we're going to try something we haven't done yet on this channel, and that is some baking. And this is one of my favorite recipes. It's going to be part of a new playlist we'll call Healthy Eats and Treats, something like that anyway. So this one is brownies made with black beans and dates. And if you haven't heard of this kind of thing before, when you first hear of it, it's kind of weird, right? But it's actually really, really good. And last year I lost about 30 pounds, mainly avoiding refined sugar and breads and pastas and stuff like that. And so brownies are out. But with this, the only sweetener is dates. And then instead of flour, you've got black beans. So here's everything that we're going to need. We've got our dates, and I'll talk about that. We'll need a cup of dates. I use 2 cans of black beans. I use a half cup of cocoa, and we'll call this a generous half cup, just a heaping half cup. I like kind of the chocolate more on the dark side, but you can adjust that to taste. You'll need, I use like maybe a generous quarter teaspoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of vanilla, 3 tablespoons of melted butter. So you'll need that. We will also need 3 large eggs in our mixture. And then you'll need a food processor or a blender strong enough to do the job. A nice little electric mixer helps out with the job a lot. A mixing bowl and some kind of a baking pan. And I like this one that's got the nice little individual squares. It's nice for creating you can make 12 of them and put them in a container in the refrigerator and then have something all throughout the week. Or if you're cooking for a lot of people, then you've got a nice little treat. And we're going to do a few things with the brownies that we're going to make today in the future. I'll show you some fun ways to be able to top it. Healthy ways that I've figured out. So here we go. Did I cover everything here? You'll also need some butter or something else to grease the pan with. I like butter, so I've got some butter to grease the little individual squares with. So now I mentioned that we'll need a cup of dates, and these are just regular dates I got from the bulk bins at my local supermarket. You'll notice that this is a heaping cup. What I do is I just cram enough dates into a cup as I can. See? Now it's a cup. So there you go. There's your cup of dates. And so we'll just start mixing them all together. We do the black beans and the dates. And we'll do the cocoa. I'll have to see how full the food processor gets. We'll either do the cocoa in the food processor with the black beans and dates, or we'll do it in the mixing bowl with the rest of the ingredients. So here we go. I'm going to pull this a little bit closer. And we'll just start putting in our ingredients. One can. 2 cans. And I'm going to kind of spread those. Actually, I'm just going to leave a spot here for our dates. Now that I've crammed them in there, a little bit of work to get out. But hey, getting messy is part of the fun of baking, right? Okay, so that's pretty full. So put all that in there. And here we go. We'll start with a pulse. Let's just... Now we want these thoroughly mixed, nice and smooth. So because this is so full, I'm going to kind of get in here and push some of this stuff down. This is about as much as you'd want to cram into a food processor this size. I've done this in my Vitamix blender before, and I recently got this food processor. It's a little easier to get everything out. The blender is kind of deep and takes some work to get everything out. It's looking pretty good. Nice and smooth. Still looks like beans, but by the time we mix everything else in, it's going to look real nice. So we're going to go ahead and transfer this to the bowl now, where we'll mix in the rest of our ingredients. So far in here, all we have are the beans, the black beans, and the dates. And you can see, still pretty much looks like beans, like refried beans. So we'll get all this into the bowl. Cleaned out pretty good. So we're going to start mixing in some of other stuff here. So we've got our 3 tablespoons of melted butter. That's going to get mixed in there. We've got our ½ cup of cocoa. That's going to get mixed in there real nice. We've got a tablespoon of vanilla. That's going in the mix. Set all this stuff aside over here when I'm done with it. I'm going to put in a generous ¼ teaspoon here. Okay, that goes aside over here. And then I believe the last thing we've got are our 3 large eggs. Those are going to go in here. And these are eggs from my backyard chickens, so they're real good. Try not to get shell in yours. I don't think I got. Okay. I'm sure some people are better at cracking eggs than I am. I usually have to pick out shell out of stuff. All right, so here we go. And we'll start out slow with the mixer and try not to make too big of a mess here. Make sure this thing... Oh, you actually got to turn it on. Said I was going to start out slow here. All right, I'm just actually going to stir it around a little bit, get some of that cocoa wet. I think there's a reason they want you to put it in the food processor with the other stuff. That's a little better. All right, you can see already, right? That's already starting to look kind of like brownie mixture there. I'm going to use the rubber spatula here to get a little stuff off the sides of the bowl. Mix it up a little better. That, if you ask me, that looks great. That looks delicious, and it smells great. So next, set that aside. Next, we're just gonna grease our pan here. And again, if you're avoiding butter, I'm not going out of my way to eat a ton of it, but I'm not avoiding butter. And so I use butter in the mixture. You could also use 3 tablespoons of some kind of an oil instead of butter, or whatever other ingredient you'd use in place of oil or butter. I like butter, so I'll use butter. I'm going to use butter again to grease the pan. You could use whatever you want to use to grease the pan there, I'm sure. I tried some other things, like I used coconut oil one time to grease the pan. I didn't really like how that tasted. I just prefer butter, so I'm going to stick my finger right in here. There might be a better tool for that, but I like my finger. So I'm going to use my finger and just generously grease these little squares. Lastly, we'll put a couple spoonfuls of the mixture in each of these little squares. Or if you have just a baking pan, regular baking pan, you just put it in there before we throw it in the oven. And we're going to bake these. I'm going to bake them in my oven. And depending on your location and your oven, sometimes they cook differently. So in my oven, I'm going to put this at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, and that should do it. So you might need to play with this. Okay, that's pretty good. So we're going to throw these now in the oven. Again, your temperature may differ a little, somewhere between 350, 400 degrees. Mine doesn't get quite as hot as it should, I think, so I do 400. And I'm going to do that for 30 minutes. And what we're going to look for is that these are nicely baked and that the edges are kind of pulling away. Some of these are a little bit bigger than others, but that's okay. I'll give the kids the small ones. All right, so I'm going to throw these in, and then we'll be back to take a look when I pull them out of the oven. Okay, guys, we are back, and we've pulled the brownies out of the oven. They actually got just a tiny little bit overcooked on top because I had to go get these guys from school, and it took forever with traffic, but I did get them out, and I couldn't help myself. I cheated a little bit. Do you guys like these brownies? You don't like them?
Yeah, they're good, but not as good as regular ones. Okay, they're okay.
They're okay? All right, so let's try them. And you guys try them again and see what you think. So let's pull out a nice one. Let's see. Which one do you guys want to try?
I want this one.
The one I already tried? All right.
I want this one. I want this one.
Still steaming. Woo. Okay. All right, everybody grab one. Careful, some of those are still steaming a little bit.
This one's steaming.
Yeah. Okay, guys, are you ready?
Yeah.
On your marks, get set, go. I love them. Oh, don't make a mess. All right, guys, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What's this?
Kind of.
You kind of like them?
the texture of a bee.
They do not.
Yes, they do.
Look-
the inside is
look
like
at that.
Is like a cooked
It
bee.
looks like fudge. It looks like fudge.
Yeah, but the inside.
It's great. These are terrific. They're not overly sweet. They're delicious. And later on, in the next week or so, I'm going to show you how to make some great toppings so that you can take this from being a snack that you could eat on the go or quickly to turning it into more of something like a dessert. So we've got black beans, dates, eggs, vanilla, cocoa, some baking soda. Mix it all together, bake it up, and you've got these delicious, healthy brownies. Healthy treat. And that's a recipe for fun. Thanks for watching, and tell them what to do, Braden.
Subscribe and like.
That's a good
Smash
idea.
the like button. Smash it.
Thanks for watching. I'm gonna eat the rest of all these. You guys don't get any.
Okay, you get all of him. Okay, fine with me. Not fine with me.
Are these your favorite? They are? They're my favorite too.
They're my second favorite.
They're your second favorite? What's your first favorite?
The one that mom makes.
With sugar?
Yeah.
Okay. But these are pretty good too, right? Yeah. I think if he likes them, you're going to love them.